Welcome to AI in Education Daily, where every day Dan Fitzpatrick keeps on top of AI in education developments so that you don't have to.
If you like this podcast, please consider writing a review on your podcast app and sharing it on your socials. Thank you. Are AI tools rewriting the rules of academic integrity or tearing them apart? In today's episode, we are diving into the gripping stories of students caught in the crossfire of a generative AI cheating crisis shaking universities to their core. Before we get to the main story, I want to quickly look at an article published by Semaphore, titled "Beijing Urges Chinese Schools to Prioritize Teaching AI Amid US Tech Trade War," authored by Catherine Lee. The Chinese Ministry of Education has issued a directive urging schools to prioritize teaching artificial intelligence to students as young as 6. This initiative is part of China's strategy to meet future demand for innovative talent and strengthen its position in the tech rivalry with the United States. By 2030, AI courses are expected to become a standard part of curriculums nationwide. This builds on efforts launched in 2018 to integrate AI into universities and schools, and the 2019 rollout of AI courses in public high schools. Urban centers like Shenzhen have implemented these programs with costs estimated at several million yuan per school. However, rural areas often lack basic infrastructure, including internet access and adequate classrooms, which presents challenges for broader implementation. China's urgency is driven by its standing in generative AI, where experts estimate it lags at least a year behind the United States, with the risk of falling further behind. This gap persists despite earlier investments in AI education and research, highlighting difficulties in scaling initiatives effectively. This directive also reflects the broader US-China tech rivalry, with both nations competing for dominance in AI and other technological fields. China's focus on cultivating domestic talent aims to ensure a steady pipeline of skilled professionals to advance its technological goals. As the 2030 target approaches, questions arise about addressing disparities in infrastructure, particularly in rural schools, and whether urban models can be scaled nationwide. For educators and policymakers worldwide, this directive prompts reflection on the role of AI in education and the resources necessary to equip future generations for a rapidly evolving technological landscape. Today, we turn our focus to a pressing issue reshaping higher education: the rise of generative AI and its impact on academic integrity. A recent article by Will Caldwell, titled "I Received a First, but it felt tainted and undeserved," inside the university AI cheating crisis published in The Guardian, highlights the complex and contentious relationship between AI tools and the academic world, underscoring the challenges faced by both students and educators. Let's unpack the facts and explore the implications. Albert, a 19-year-old English undergraduate, found himself unexpectedly summoned to a university misconduct hearing. The accusation? Using AI to complete an essay. According to the university's Code of Conduct team, his work displayed signpost phrases such as "in addition to" and "in contrast," which are common in AI-generated text. Albert denied the claim, emphasizing that while the essay wasn't his best, he had worked hard on it. Nevertheless, he faced the daunting prospect of an automatic fail for the module if he didn't respond. During the hearing, Albert faced a panel of 3 staff members who questioned him for half an hour. He was asked whether he had ever created accounts with tools like ChatGPT or Grammarly. Despite his efforts to defend himself, Albert felt overwhelmed and close to tears. After 2 months of uncertainty, he finally learned he'd passed the module. However, the ordeal took a toll on his confidence, prompting him to transfer to another university for his second year. Albert's case highlights how generative AI tools have fostered a climate of suspicion and tension within academia. To understand the broader implications, it's essential to consider the rapid evolution of generative AI. Since the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT 3 4 years ago, Similar tools, such as Google's Gemini and Microsoft's Copilot, have emerged, offering users the ability to generate coherent, written content in seconds. While these tools can provide invaluable support, such as summarizing concepts or assisting with research, their misuse has raised alarms across campuses. According to a survey by the Higher Education Policy Institute, over half of students admit to using generative AI in their assessments, with 5% acknowledging its use for outright cheating. Universities have responded by adopting AI detection tools like Turnitin's AI Detector, which assesses whether a piece of work is likely to have been generated by AI. Since its launch, Turnitin has processed over 130 million papers, flagging 3.5 million as predominantly AI-generated. However, these tools are not infallible. Turnitin claims a low error rate of less than 1%, but false positives can have serious consequences. Albert's case and others highlight the potential for mistakes. For instance, a Stanford study revealed that AI detection tools disproportionately flagged work by non-native English speakers, labeling 61% of their submissions as AI-generated compared to just 5% for native speakers. Neurodivergent students have also been affected, as evidenced by the case of a student with autism whose work was erroneously flagged by AI detection software. Dr. Mike Perkins, a generative AI researcher, has examined the limitations of these detection tools. According to his findings, AI detectors accurately identify AI-written text only 39.5% of the time. Simple text modifications can reduce this accuracy to 22.1%. He notes that students who cheat often manipulate AI-generated content or use advanced tools like CopyGenius or StealthGPT, which make detection even harder. Ironically, those caught are often the most vulnerable students, those lacking access to advanced tools or struggling academically. Emma, another student featured in the article, exemplifies this struggle. As a single parent juggling childcare, household responsibilities, and part-time job applications, she turned to ChatGPT to complete a portion of her coursework during a particularly difficult period. When her work was flagged by Turnitin's AI detector, Emma admitted to using the tool, describing her actions as a desperate measure driven by exhaustion. While her case was ultimately resolved in her favor, the experience left her feeling ashamed. Despite earning a first for the year, she considered the achievement tainted. The situation reflects deeper issues within higher education. The transactional nature of modern degree programs, exacerbated by financial pressures on both students and institutions, has created an environment where shortcuts can seem tempting. Universities are often stretched thin, with limited resources for personalized teaching and assessment. Some lecturers, overwhelmed by their workload, have reportedly used ChatGPT to draft seminar plans. Meanwhile, students face mounting pressure to perform, further blurring the line between legitimate and illegitimate use of AI. This atmosphere of suspicion has also strained relationships between students and educators. One student mentioned in the article described being accused of cheating because their essay included a list, a structure often associated with AI-generated content. Although cleared of wrongdoing, the experience affected their mental health and confidence. Another student, David, shared a case of suspected AI use in a group project, which led him to confront a teammate and document evidence to protect his own academic record. Efforts to address these challenges have led to differing approaches. Some institutions are developing AI-positive policies, like those at Cambridge University, which encourage appropriate use of generative AI for tasks such as concept overviews and time management. However, such policies also caution against over-reliance, which could hinder critical thinking. Other universities have shifted to more interactive forms of assessment, such as Viva Voces or one-on-one tuition, to reduce the likelihood of AI misuse. These methods, while effective, require additional staffing and resources, which many institutions cannot afford. Caldwell's article also points out the tension among academics themselves. While some see AI as a valuable learning aid, others view its use as undermining the integrity of education. This divergence has led to inconsistent enforcement of academic misconduct policies, with some universities opting to avoid escalating cases to central disciplinary boards. As universities grapple with the implications of AI, the debate extends beyond technology to fundamental questions about the purpose and value of higher education. The rise of generative AI has highlighted vulnerabilities in a system increasingly focused on output rather than the learning process. For students like Albert and Emma, these challenges are deeply personal. Their experiences underscore the need for institutions to strike a balance between maintaining academic standards and supporting students in navigating the complexities of modern education. The emergence of generative AI has undeniably transformed the educational landscape, raising critical questions about academic integrity, assessment methods, and the role of technology in learning. While tools like ChatGPT offer unprecedented opportunities, their misuse has sparked an ongoing crisis in trust and fairness. For educators, students, and policymakers, finding solutions will require a nuanced understanding of these challenges and a commitment to fostering genuine learning experiences. The stakes, as Caldwell's article makes clear, are not just academic but deeply human. That's all for today. If you like this podcast, please consider writing a review on your podcast app and sharing it on your socials. Thank you.
That's it for today. Tune in every Monday through to Friday for a brand new episode exploring the world of AI in education. For more information, go to theAIeducator.io.